Greetings everyone. In today's video we will be taking a look at the Obsidian note-taking application, or sometimes it's referred to on their website, the second brain. I've actually gotten a few requests to look at this program. I did use it once years ago, played around with it. I can't say really use it. I tested it out, played around with it. At that point I decided it wasn't for me, but as I said, I got some requests. So I'm going to take another look here. One thing I do want to point out, this is more of a functional overview of the program. I'm not pushing any particular system for taking notes or using Obsidian. I'm more interested in the functionality of the program. Stuff like that is pretty much up to the individual how they want to use the program. So yeah, we're sticking to functionality. We're not going down that road. Mainly how I use the program, how I take notes is going to be considerably different than how anybody else does it. So it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of pointless to cover that kind of stuff. So any mention of how I take notes, feel free to ignore and focus on the program functionality. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get to it. Obsidian itself was created back in 2020. It was during the COVID days. From their wiki page, we can read, let's see, Obsidian is a personal knowledge base and note-taking application that operates on markdown files. Obsidian is designed to help users organize, structure their thoughts and knowledge in a flexible, non-linear way. Yeah, that all sounds nice. I'm not really sure about that non-linear part, though. I'm not quite sure what that means. One thing about Obsidian that makes it nice is it's pretty much, as you'll see when we talk about downloading it, it's pretty much available across all platforms, whether you're running Linux, whether you're running Windows, whether you're running Mac, Android, iOS. I'm assuming the Android one would work on Chrome OS. Haven't actually tried that. So I also say that Obsidian is currently free to use. It is not an open source program. It is, they have their own licensing agreement on their website, which is not open source. As I said, currently free to use, but there are some pay options for Obsidian for those that are interested, those who want to support the project. We'll take a quick look at those when we look at their website. Another nice thing about Obsidian, haven't really looked into this, but I'm guessing the API is available out there because there is a plethora of plugins available for the program that do a bunch of things. I used a few of them last time I played around with Obsidian, but I've been told it's changed and a lot of the plugins, the functionality is now built in, but we'll take a look at that as well. So today I want to be staying away from plugins and focusing straight on just Obsidian itself and using it in taking note applications. And using it for taking notes, just the application itself, so to speak. Just a word on the setup I'm going to be using here. I am going to attempt to use this across multiple devices. I'm not actually using the Obsidian sync option, which we'll talk about when we discuss their website. I will be using Nextcloud to sync it, and if anyone's actually interested in how that works, I mean, I'm going to talk about what I do, but it's basically the subject of a whole other video, so if there's interest, I can go there. I mean, the subject itself about using it across multiple devices isn't really germane to the point I'm trying to do in this video of actually just using the program, so. Anyway, enough of my blathering. We can get to it now, I guess. Let's start out here by taking a look at the Obsidian website. We'll go ahead and jump straight to the download page, as you're probably interested in how to install it. And as we can see here, we've got options for iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, Linux. For iOS, Windows and Mac, you have a single option. For Android, you can get the APK pack directly or use Google Play. I'm guessing you can probably install this on Chrome. Not sure though. Haven't tried it. For Linux, you have lots of options. You have the app image, you have the snap, you have the Flatpak, and you have the deb package. Since I'm using Fedora 42 KDE Spin, I will be using the Software Discover Center, which means I'll probably be using the Flatpak version, but we'll see when we get there. Now, if we jump over here to pricing, there's a little blurb. Obsidian is free without limits to use. However, it is not open source license, so just be aware of that. They have their own license on their website if you want to look at it. They do have a couple of pricing options here. One of them is for a sync function, which allows you to sync your Obsidian vault, which is what Obsidian calls where your data is stored, to the cloud, their cloud, and resync it with your device. There's also an $8 option that's US prices here for publishing. Not clear what the difference is here because I haven't used either of these options or looked at them that much. There's also some community support options, since they say they're 100% user supported. There's a Catalyst $25 US, and then there's a commercial $50 US. Again, you have to read about these on the website. I'm not really looking at them here. I just want to bring them to your attention. So let's jump over to the desktop. Again, KDE on Fedora 42, and let's go ahead and power up the Software Discover store. It's not really a store. You don't buy things here, but anyway, we'll type Obsidian. And we get a lot of options. The top one's the one we're looking for. It looks like some of these options here are in support of Obsidian for various themes, icons, other stuff. And some of them probably aren't related, but top option is actually the one we're looking for here. And as we can see, this is a Flatpak. It's the only option, so we'll go ahead and install it. This will come from the Flatpak repository or hub and not the Fedora repository. And as you can see, the license is proprietary here. We'll just wait for this to download and install. Okay, there we go. Once it's downloaded, we can go ahead and find it under Office in the menu. I want to right-click and add this to my favorites, so it's right up there where I can see it. And then go ahead and launch the program. First thing we get is this window, Obsidian Quick Start. I'm going to sort of skip over the Quick Start. That's basically going to help you create a vault. Like I said, I've used this a few years ago. So the vault, you basically give it a name and a location. So we're just going to jump straight there. So our other options are to open folder as a vault and then the sync function. Plus you have the language down there at the bottom. Anyway, we need to give our local vault a name. I'm just going to throw something out there since this is a test. And I'm going to stick it in my Nextcloud sync folder on my desktop so I can sync it to the cloud. That's my personal cloud, actually. And then it opens up, and here we are. And if we go into the file manager and we go to the Nextcloud, we can take a look at, we can see the data folder has been created, and it's the welcome.md, which is for Markdown, has also been created. Now let's jump to full screen here. We're going to jump over here to Nextcloud. You can see I've got the sync icon up here, and I push on that. I get a list of the programs I've synced. And again, we looked in the Nextcloud sync directory, but we really want, so what's really happening here is from my laptop, I'm sending it to a server, which is online. I happen to have a URL for this server, a domain name. And then from that server, we're distributing our folder, and you can get it over 4G. wired or wireless, it doesn't matter. I mean, the server's on the internet. It's not on my private network. If it was on my private network, you'd probably remove the 4G. It'd just be available wireless. But this is actually a hosting package, so yeah, it's on the internet. Anyway, let's actually go to our, this is a temporary one I set up for a lot of my tests, and I've got Nextcloud running here. We'll log in, we'll go to Files, Vaults, Data, and we can see that it's actually synced up with the online cloud storage. So that's good. This should, as long as the Nextcloud client is running on my computer, keep this synced up. And then if I want to add the Nextcloud client to Android, I could be able to download this vault to my phone and run Obsidian from there. Okay, back to the program, which we're actually going to be talking about here. So back to the Obsidian. As you can see, we've got a couple of windows here. We've got some icons and things to the left and to the right. Let's take a look at what these things do. So there's actually, when we hover over them, search or new note, you know, things like that. They tell you what they do, so that's good. We've got the, this is our note view. We can have multiple note tabs. We also have multiple notes open. This one looks like a separate window. Okay, that's good. We can have some things open all at once. So open quick switcher, open graph view. I think we were looking at that. I closed the graph view. Some of these I'm not sure what they do. I'm going to have to do some checking. Create a new canvas. I'm guessing that does something with the look of your notes. Open the day's daily note. I remember that one from the last time I used this. It just opens it, creates a note with the date in the title. Go to File and open Command Palette. I seem to recall this lets you run some commands in Obsidian, but didn't use it last time. May look at that later. Quick data, yeah, this thing down here opens the original one where I guess you get vaults down the left side, and you got to create new vaults, open existing vaults. Yeah, similar to the startup, but with the vaults down the side. Settings we'll look at later. We got, this is how you view your tabs over here. Stack tabs, bookmark, actual, yeah. And these open and close. This particular icon opens and closes here, and we've got backlinks, outgoing links. We'll talk about those in a bit. Tags, some other stuff here. So the same icon on the other side probably opens and closes that. All right, enough about the controls and just going over them quickly. I created several folders, several files here. Okay, enough about going over the controls. They're all labeled themselves, so it should be fairly easy. It's just, you know, some of them I'm going to play around with to see what they actually do. But let's go ahead and jump into, I'm going to switch over here. I added a bunch of files and folders. So, and again, I am not trying to make recommendations on how you take notes. These are just to test some stuff here. So I've got 1, 2, 3 folders and a file. And we're looking at the file. It's calling this home. And if we go to the graph view, we can see how everything's linked together. I'm not sure the value of this graph view. It could get a little complex when you get a lot of files. It's actually getting a little complex now with just a few. But let's go ahead, and if we open the folder here on the left, Daily Notes, you can see the 2 notes I've got are also out here on my home page with links to them. So if we click on them, it should take us to those notes. I've got a project YouTube project folder. Here I did a quick one for Obsidian. I haven't really done anything with it. I just, like I say, throw some information in there, thesis, overview, just to click around on the notes and see how things work, how navigation works. So quick view, we can type information about the name of a note and have a list of the available matching notes come up. And we can expand and contract. Okay. Now here we've got our links. These are links off this page to someplace else. And we have another one for backlinks, but there's no backlinks on this first page. We have to go to another page. So let's jump over to this. I did bog verbs. This is for Tagalog. And you can see I've got a link for lakad, which is walk. And here's the backlink, which takes us back to the page that brought us here. Cool. So you can navigate back and forth fairly quickly. Let's see how we set some of this stuff up. You'll notice here that between major headings, you can hide everything in between major headings or show it. Just by clicking on the heading, it'll roll up or roll out. Fold up, fold out, however you want to describe it. Click on the links. Now, what's interesting here, and this is something that's different from the last time I used this program, if I right-click, I get a bunch of options. Add a link, format, rows, columns. This I had, if to do a table in markup, you either did it yourself or you had to add a plugin to do this, but now this appears to be part of the program. So you can just add rows or columns easily without actually dealing with the markup. Cool. And if I create a link, and I click on that link, and it actually creates the file, then I can copy that file over into the proper directory, and hey, it updates the link itself. That's cool. Yeah, they've made a lot of improvements since I played around with this before. So I realize I'm not getting too deep into stuff here, but this, like I said, this is mainly an overview of the program to get an idea of how it works and some of its functionality. And I love the fact that we've got this side menu now, or this menu now, just by right-clicking, that can do a lot of the markup for you. Yeah, speaking of markup, let's go ahead and exit Obsidian, and we'll jump into our text editor, and we'll go look at our vaults, and you can see the stuff we've added here. If we click on something, now we can actually see the markup, and this is what they mean when they say the files are usable. A lot of programs recognize markup. In fact, my text editor recognizes it. You can see we've got a left and a right window here. We'll point out with markup that every program displays it slightly differently. It's a standard. They mostly adhere to it, but again, if you can see the display here is slightly different than it was in Obsidian. And you can see like the markup for the table there, the markup for the H1 header. And then we can go ahead and take a look at another file. And again, you can see the various markup features being used. In this case, we got bold with the double stars or double asterisks or headings. So yeah, it would be easy to pull your data out of this. I mean, it would be a pain, but you could do it. It's a lot easier than trying to get your data out of a LibreOffice file or something more complex. Let's go ahead and jump into our settings here and see what we've got. General settings, current version, automatic updates, language, editor options, Yeah, there's a lot of options here. This seems to be more than I recall the last time I used this program. Language, spell check, all that kind of good stuff. Appearance. Okay. Oh, there's the fonts there. You can set a font, but you set the size for all the fonts at once, it looks like. The various views. The hotkeys, this is a very useful area for if you want to use this from the keyboard. You can set all these keyboard functions. I mean, a lot of people make massive use of hotkeys. I use them sometimes, not all the time. Oh, there's a lot more core plugins now than I recall being there before. One of the big things about this is the community plugins. Again, there's an API available for this, and people write plugins for it. And there's a lot of plugins that do a lot of different things. Calendars, Git, day planners, Kanban. Yeah, a lot of plugins available. Okay. Show backlinks at the bottom of the notes. Like I said, there's a lot more options than there used to be. So the program seems to be maturing nicely. Oh, here are my daily notes. I can set the location for them. Okay. So when I create those, they should pop into the folder instead of at the main level. Yeah, this is going to take some review of the various formatting options here. Okay, various settings. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so that was a quick overview of Obsidian, a quick review of it, and it has changed a bit since the last time I used it. This is a good thing. The program's maturing, more plugins. There's a lot more into the base program. There's a lot of really nice new features. So this might be worth giving it a try out. So I may play with this a lot more and do a more detailed look, not just this overview sort of thing. Unfortunately, to do that, I'd have to go through and say, hey, this is how I do notes. But again, I didn't want to touch on, this is the first time I've looked at this program in several years. And yeah, it's gotten better. So it was good before, probably not really something I would have used before, but with these improvements I've seen now, yeah, I might give this a try for writing scripts, notes, things like that. Question would be how I'd want to do it. Yeah, I think I'd make multiple vaults because you can put everything in one vault. That things would get kind of messy, but you know, I think stuff like studying a language, that would be its own vault. Scripts, would I make multiple vaults for that or a single vault? I don't know at this point, something I have to think about. And again, the way I do it is not the way you'd necessarily do it. So the program appears to have the flexibility to allow you to figure out your own way of taking notes. And if you want specific examples, there's lots of people online that'll tell you exactly how to take notes and what plugins to use and things like that. But at this point in time, that's not me. So anyway, thumbs up. They've really improved this program a lot since the last time I used it. So yeah, I may go ahead and I have to think about it. I'll probably delete all my testing stuff and I'll keep the program installed, delete all the vaults, but I'm going to have to think about how I actually want to set things up before I actually go in and do it. And I recommend doing that for yourself. Makes it less messy and more organized. Anyway, until next time.